Okay, so I'm continuing on this video. My big boy cat has come back in. Say hello to everyone. He said, I run a supermarket here. I'm trying to be funny here now. This is the sort of video that I would like to make if I was in a real world instead of the artificial imitation world that we live in. Instead of the artificial imitation of life, technological matrix earth that we live in. Is that correct, big boy? Say hello. I've got the phone round the right way for once, so I can see what I'm looking at, whereas before I had it round the wrong way, so you could see me, but this is not good for filming. Now, say hello, big boy. He's not going to say hello. Well, that's the way it goes. Because big boy, of course, is he's got a late night supermarket going here. I'm just going to be witty here. I can't believe that. Wait on. That's strange. That's funny. Oh, there's something funny going on here. I can't even say it for the video because it's something that I'm observing, but I don't know if you can observe it. And if I say it, I will look completely out of touch. Even though I know that the people that are listening are also out of touch, if you like, or are we completely in touch with the true reality? That's the question that these videos ask, or that I ask. I don't have to ask. I've said it before. But either way, I'm going to pretend just for a second, it's just come over me, that I'm going to be witty here if I can, if I know how, and pretend that for 1 minute that I'm in a real world and there's no matrix, and say that this is my friend Big Boy Cat, and hopefully he won't show you any different. You're supposed to be an imitation of life, so let's have it, Putty. Pretend to be a real cat for a second, and you're a putty cat that runs a late night supermarket. See, he said, would you like a bottle of milk, madam or sir? Would you like some bread? Would you like some cookies? They're new ones. They look rather nice. They might be nice. I'd love to share those cookies with one of you. Because unfortunately, if I diverge to my stove, it is out of order, apart from one of the jets on top, so the cooking has gone to a low level at the present time. And look, I mentioned, oh wow, I can't believe that. I'm going to have to put out the previous video as well as this one, and maybe something will come to light. Putty, come on, stop that. Oh, the cat's possessed and being naughty, unfortunately. Because if I can turn it round very carefully without losing it here, without losing transmission, shall we say, and I can't even see what I look like, but, oh gee, that is bright. Because I have not got the settings right on this, and I'm only doing this because the cat has gone over. Oh, the cat is naughty. He's pulled something off the bench. He never goes round to that bench. He normally just goes on this one, but he is hungry and I haven't got food for him. So, Putty, come on, cut that out. I could tell you the story of Putty, of what he did about 10 years ago, in fact. Of course, he was not possessed then, I don't think, but I could be wrong. Now, Putty, I'm going to have to stop the cat from that. Sorry. This is not planned in the video. This is the matrix or possession interference. Oh, dear. Putty, I shall get you some food in a little bit, okay? But you can't have that because... Oh, dear. Oh, it's a waste of tissues, but there we go. You know, the Matrix plays its game with all these sorts of things too. Like we're supposed to care about nature in a matrix, in a technological domain, a technological imitation reality. We are supposed to be concerned about the earth and nature. Well, I ask you, something is very strange there. What is going on? Now, Putty is up to his tricks today too. Now, this is, I'm finding it very hard with the mobile here. I cannot handle it too well. Now, I think that you must look at the previous video that I filmed. But as usual, the Matrix will try to make me look foolish and make me look as though everyone else is natural and normal and friendly and human, whereas I will look out of touch and ridiculous and stupid and false in many ways because I'm making the video. And this is true. I make these videos for a few that I assume and hope are not of the imitation, artificial, technological, matrix, false, earth, world reality. I got the words there for once. I got the flow going. And if I wasn't in this false imitation of life reality, like the movie called Imitation of Life, which I saw many, many, many years ago, this whole reality is nothing but an imitation of what was once real. Putty moved what was once real and what should or could be, but I have no idea why I said that because it makes no sense. No, Putty, you are not going in that bin. Putty, come on. So I'm supposed to be making a serious video about the reality, and instead I'm getting a funny cat or naughty cat video. Yes, I was just going to say, come on, Putty, I'm sorry. Look, this is the Matrix here. All these bags that are here, they're just shopping bags because you're supposed to conserve them now, you see, to save our precious natural earth. You know, that you can't have the, you know, you've got to reuse the shopping bags and things, and you have to pay for them now. This is something that came in only over the last, about 6 to 8 months. And of course, I do not even have a recycling bin, but in Leichhardt and Sydney, we are very big on recycling to save this natural earth world because we are all good, real people, you see. So even I do have a bag of all paper stuff here, even though I don't actually have a bin, and even though I know that I am being part of the imitation of life in doing this. I do it to appease the imitation human beings that are the Matrix, okay? Knowing that it is probably a joke. Somehow or other it feels like a joke, because how can something be natural if it's all technological? So I find that a mind conflict, shall we say, and I think it's also part of the Matrix to even get someone like me into that state of confusion, and that what we once called, and with that word I use over and over again, which was used in the Innocence movie, where there is the dilemma. There's always a dilemma for humans. Always a dilemma for us. I feel stupid saying humans too, because that almost sounds a derogatory term in this reality and will be used that way. So I say humans are life. So forget about the word human even. If you are real life, You are different from this imitation matrix earth world and its beings, its minions, its followers, its apparent life forces that are really an imitation of life. Very good imitations. More glamorous imitations often, as I've said before. The demigods are imitation of life. They are your most beautiful, your most glamorous, your most seductive versions, even your most creative beings of this world. But they are merely imitations. They have merely taken from real life and then they represent real life. But they are really an imitation of life, like the old movie. They are the finest imitations of life that you will see. The Matrix God entity has created an imitation world of its own, with its beings showing that they can create and do anything as well as what is real. That is the purpose of this reality in many ways. But of course the purpose is then to keep the few minority remaining limited life sources or life forces or life beings, which is us, to keep playing and to stay here. You know, all under a cloud of illusion really, because you wonder why you are here. You wonder why you are still playing, and you're compelled to because you have no choice anyway. But you wonder what your purpose is, what you are meant to really be playing for, who you are meant to be playing with. You know, my stove does not work. And it's had a lot of use, but it doesn't work now. I'm just going to make this point, and yes, I'm going to play for sympathy here, and I've been accused of playing the victim. Well, I'm going to play it big time. And, you know, why shouldn't I play if everyone else in the Matrix plays? Why shouldn't I play the victim and get a bit of sympathy from a few that understand? Because most will not give sympathy. They will just be derogatory and say, well, the stove may be broken, but you could clean it. Well, look, the reason I don't clean it is because it's broken. But I'm just rationalising here, by the way. You notice how the Matrix has got me playing. See, I have to justify why, because I wasn't going to show the dirty pot. But actually, everything is actually clean in a way. It's germ-free, but it looks messy and dirty. Because, you know, if you spray something that's dirty with disinfectant, you've killed the germs. So it's the disinfectant and the sprays. But it still looks grubby. But the reason that I haven't... You see, you know, this is getting personal here. And I'm playing for sympathy, playing the victim. But the Matrix demigods, they play big time for sympathy and victims and understanding and empathy between real humans and the demigods. So I think I'm entitled to do the same. So there you go. So there's Putty. I'm trying to get him in. Not very good at this. Putty is back to his usual glowing self there. I might have to show the previous video, even though it tailed off into neighbours coming in to make them look like friendly, real neighbours. I personally think that even the friendly are still of the Matrix because they're all actors. They all have their different roles. Most of them want to hide in the Matrix and hide their dark side, from what I can see. But either way, I'm just going to say I'm going to get some sympathy here. But actually, it's a reality anyway. The stove is broken down. But this is how the dilemma or the matrix works in a funny kind of practical at a very simplistic level. The stove has been broken down for many a month, and I miss it greatly because I like to cook in the oven, okay? Because I'm not the world's greatest cook, but I can cook anything from the supermarket in the oven. Now, I'm making a video here, but the stove can be replaced, you know, because it's a rented place. That stove can be replaced by the authorities that control the place free. So everyone else around here would have had that stove, a brand new stove, put in instantly. And I could do that. The matrix or the surrounding environment that is around me upsets me so much that I don't care less, that you end up living at a more limited level. Because you know that you will have to, put an application in to get the new stove, even though I know that I will get it. But, you know, it hassles you so much on a daily basis that you can't even, you get too stressed. It's very hard to explain, but you end up with less, even though you should have basic things, even in the matrix. Now, that is partly because I'm not on top of the matrix. This is so. You know, you really do need to get on top of it. You need to say, hey, look, I've still got to live at a practical level. But you do get to a point where you say, I couldn't care less. And so then you are actually living at even more of a limited level, which makes the matrix and those that are around laugh even more, because they will have everything replaced in their houses and places, especially if they don't have to pay for it. And they laugh when you're living in relative squalor, shall I say, in the sense that if you don't have a stove, which is a basic kind of commodity in most houses and has to actually be provided in any place that's rented. But I'm just explaining at a practical level. My hand is very sore here holding this mobile, so I'm going to have difficulty. I did so want to make a better video and keep the garbage tins and the recycling rubbish. And you can take that literally or figuratively or whatever the other word is, which means esoterically, is that it? Or whatever, I don't know. You can take it all that way if you want to. Because I shouldn't be showing these things on a video. I could be avoiding them if I was more clever. If I was a matrix person, I would be avoiding showing the dirtier side of my living conditions, in other words. You know, I would be like an imitation of life and glamorizing even my own position. Because you get more respect, even if you're living under kind of a diabolical matrix, if you can at least show that you're still keeping your human environment or your habitat, is that the word, at a reasonable level, because it makes it look as though you're at least a little bit civilized and a little bit able to maintain yourself. So therefore, you know, you're entitled to be listened to. Whereas if, you know, look, I'm telling you honestly, my own experience is that most humans are suppressed and made to look the least possible that they can possibly be in this environment and earth matrix. I know this to be a reality. The few humans that I have seen are suppressed in every way. They are not allowed to represent themselves as, you know, what they really are. They are, like I say, suppressed. So they will be, you know, it's quite likely that a homeless person will be a real human being whereas someone living in a palace will probably not be, if you want to look at it that way. The cat just moved. That means yes. But also you must remember that the matrix has all bases covered now. So they also are implanting or positioning. Because it's a game, they will place, a bit like there's a TV show that was on the TV a few months ago. I didn't watch it, but it was actually called something like where very rich people were allowing themselves to live the life of a homeless person for a week because they are so wonderful. And this was actually a TV show where rich elite people were subjecting themselves to life on the street as a homeless person for a week to show how they have sympathy and understanding for homeless people. This is also a matrix game, this type of thing, where not all is as it seems. That is actually showing you something there, that there are elite people, or those of the matrix, that could easily be pretending to be a lot less for a period of time as part of the game, as part of the mission, as part of... in other words, like for instance, if it was someone like myself, how do you get someone like me to keep playing when I know the matrix? I just assume that anyone who is anyone, and anyone who is a world player, or anyone who is at a certain status even in this society or matrix reality, all the same thing, I assume that anyone of certain status, or anyone who is playing on the world stage, shall we say, in other words, anyone who is very visible or acknowledged to be a special person in some field or some way, that they are a matrix player, they are a matrix disciple, a matrix follower, or a matrix relative, whatever you want to say it is. There's Putty has gone up the stairs. He doesn't do that much. Hopefully he won't go right up those very grubby stairs. And he is, because he wants me to stop the video. Putty, so I shall have to stop it because otherwise he will cause havoc up there. Sorry. Putty, come on. Come down. Putty.